again, most of it is getting into the present moment, getting into a meditation where we can start to feel, experience, notice what our body is communicating us, because the intuition speaks to us through our body. It's not going to talk to you. It's not going to show you pictures or anything like that. It's going to speak to you through your body. And then
Welcome to the Beyond podcast. Flow beyond the body, mind, limiting beliefs. Today we have our guest, Joe Garner. We actually just met online, okay, but now first time in person. And Joe, you had a 7-figure business, hit the wall, experienced burnout, and realized actually the real shift, the real transformation is not pushing harder and in the outside. The real shift happens, transformation happens when we look within. And you found your flow, you found your tools to give this knowledge and experience it yourself, give it to others. You created the Flow Forum, what is similar to my Flow Beyond school group, where we aligned topic today, the flow state. And also you have a transformational program. And as far as I understand, you're working with leaders, you're coaching them, helping them to transform with businesses. And so please tell us your expertise and maybe some background. Who are you and why you're here today?
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on the show today, and excited to kind of delve into these topics. I don't always get to free flow on the topic of flow. It's a part of my process, but I also have 4 kind of main pillars of what I call like the true transformational shift, and that's mindset, mindfulness, intuition, and then purpose. And they kind of all come together to create a life in flow. So yeah, kind of getting into how I got into this whole transformation. When I got out of college, I started a business with a couple of friends, grew it successfully, thought I had figured out everything that I needed, thought I'd figured out, this is my life path. I'm going to do this for the next 30, 40 years. And after a number of like growth spurts and just being overwhelmed with all the things that I had to take care of throughout the day, never really having a mentor or a coach that could help guide me, I really burnt out. I spent probably 4 or 5 years in kind of juggling between burnout and then super excitedness. I would take the winters. We were in a kind of seasonal area, so I'd have the winters to kind of reset, refocus, get myself back in order. And then as soon as we got into the season again, it was burnout. It was overwhelmed. There was anxiety. I went through some depression as well. I think when you're in that anxious, overwhelmed, burned out state, at some point your body turns to depression because it's telling you, hey, you need to slow down. You need to change something. And from my perspective, depression is one of those ways that your nervous system tells you, hey, we gotta figure something else out. We gotta do something different. We gotta have a different experience. How can you do that? So after a back injury and having to basically be bedridden for 2.5, 3 months, the doctors told me, you got 2 options. You can go into yoga or you can swim. Those were kind of the 2 rehabs. And after swimming for about a month, I was like, I don't want to do this. This is terrible. So I got into yoga. Never thought I would get into yoga. It was never a part of my process. And through that, I came to mindfulness. So kind of for the first year or 2, it was a very physical practice. I was doing all the things we were actually like doing burpees and stuff like that in the yoga practice. It was a very physical practice. But at the end, we would go into shavasana. We'd go into corpse pose where, your nervous system has the chance to have calmed down, to get rid of the thoughts that were constantly going on. And for the first time in my life, I just laid there without any thought, without any expectation, without anything going on. And I was like, man, that's really nice. So then found meditation. That whole journey took a while. But through that journey, I found what worked, what didn't work. And I kind of picked and chose which parts of the meditation journey I really liked and thought would be useful for busier people, for people in, the business world or that are professionals. And I created a system called 5D meditation. And it's based a little bit around mantra work, a little bit around mindfulness, and then helping people understand the science behind what meditation is. So I offer that through the Flow Forum as well. And then I came to a point in my journey where I'd helped people in meditation. It had gotten me to a certain point, but I needed to grow and expand my offerings. And that's where I got into this. It's called The Portal. It's a 12-week transformational coaching process where we dive deep into your mindset, your intuition, your purpose, and then building your mindfulness practice. And it uses those 4 pillars to really unlock flow in somebody's life.
So what means flow to you? Like you found your flow, yoga, shavasana. I just did yoga today, and then the key actually lying down in shavasana, you're waking up and like you're like, whoa, like let's do it, yeah. So what is flow? How do you define flow in your daily life? How you align yourself to stay there? Because it's one thing to do your yoga practice, to shavasana and feel great, but it's another thing to live it on a daily basis and even then go further and share it, because you can only share and give what you yourself experience and realized, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I would be lying to you if I said I'm in flow all the time as well. I'm on that journey
Yeah, yeah,
as well, trying
sure.
to find the flow.
Yeah,
Stephen Coulter talks about this. He's studied flow for a long time, and he talks about this idea that flow is not actually the place where you want to be 24/7. You're dumping dopamine into your system. There's
yeah,
serotonin that's being released, and it's just not sustainable to be in that state
sure.
24/7 unless you're a monk on a mountaintop and you have no responsibility in the world. But for most people, what you want to try to get into flow, and this is where you start to have time dilation. This is where you start to your cognitive awareness, the awareness of what you're doing, starts to kind of fade, and you almost are responding from the subconscious mind. And that's when I know that I'm in flow, because I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. It just feels like I'm being drawn towards what I need to do in that moment. So letting go of the rational mind or the egoic mind, being able to step away from that for a bit. And again, it takes a lot of practice, and you have to build a container where you can enter that flow. It's not just, hey, if I calm my mind, I'm going to get into the flow state. Like there's very specific things you have to do to prepare, to prep, to kind of block yourself off from distractions, because that's like one of the biggest things when you're in that flow state is your phone dings and you're like, oh, I got an Instagram message, I'm going to go check that. And all of a sudden you're out of that flow, and you might not get back into it for another 2 or 3 days. So yeah, that's something we could definitely delve into, like precursors for flow, how to get into that flow, that kind of stuff.
I know from my personal life, I have 2 kids, and flow is coming, and I know also how to do it. And I've been there. I'm the monk in the Himalayas. No, I was a monk for 5 years, been a monk, and then somebody told me, "Hey, you're always in flow." And then I realized the concept of flow. Yeah, but now I'm a married man, and I have responsibilities and have to work, and so I captured myself seeing actually how I lose this state of flow, getting distracted by emails and WhatsApp messages and all kinds of things in my daily life. Yeah. So to find the way when you need the flow. Yeah. Because it's not, for me, it's not just being flow means to be productive in your business. Flow means also in my spiritual practice. Yeah. To go beyond, yeah, to understand, hey, I'm not just the physical body, I'm actually more, and experience this bliss and this joy. Yeah. You mentioned these 4 pillars. Yeah, maybe we can also dive into that. I really like this concept.
Yeah. The 4 pillars are really it's been a practice for me for the last 10 or 15 years, just kind of finding and understanding. I think the first journey for me was into mindset and how your subconscious mind is essentially running the day-to-day operations of your life, even though you're not fully aware of it. Um, at any point, how you react or respond to the world is a representation of how your subconscious beliefs are manifesting in your life. And what mindset is really diving into and understanding what are these subconscious beliefs, these subconscious patterns that are existing in my life. So in order to do that, you've got to get into mindfulness. You have to step away from and out of your conscious experience of life, the kind of, the experience of I'm a human and that's all that I am. And when you build that mindfulness practice, where again, you kind of break with the mindfulness practice, the goal is for my perspective, is to break the physiological response to the thoughts that you're having. Most of us have been trained our entire lives that you have a thought and then your body responds to that thought as if it's real. And this is what people, don't necessarily realize, is that your thoughts are just as real to your mind as anything that's happening in the physical world. So if you have a thought, even if it's a subconscious thought about, hey, I'm not good enough to be able to make it to this next level, or I don't deserve the money that I'm trying to call in. It doesn't matter how many times you meditate or pray or try to manifest. If that subconscious pattern is not in alignment with your goals, it's going to get blocked no matter what. And it's going to feel like you're not progressing, you're not expanding, you're not getting to where you want to be. And really it's just a misalignment between your subconscious and your conscious mind. So between mindset and mindfulness, those are the two ways to kind of get into this flow. Then there's intuition, and how I describe intuition. Essentially, your conscious mind is creating the present moment with all the information from your past. So the rational mind is using all the information from your past experiences to create what you call your present moment. Your intuition is creating the present moment with future possibilities and bringing them into the present moment now. And having this balance between the rational mind, using the past experiences of your life to create your present moment, and then also involving future experiences, future possibilities, future potentials. That is the key ingredient for really living in the present moment and being in flow, because you've got a balance of both future and past, which create this kind of beautiful experience of present moment flow, because you have a direction that you're moving and you have the tools from your past to get there. So that's where kind of having that skills challenge optimization, you need the future facing experience. And that's where intuition comes in. And all intuition really is, from like a scientific perspective, is you're using more of your subconscious mind, more of the information that's coming in, the 10 million bits of information that's being flooded into your nervous system every single second. You're just using more of that information to decide what a future potential could look like. And then the last one is purpose. And purpose really is, if you don't have a reason that you're doing something, the idea of getting into flow, the idea of it's going to overcome your conscious mind, it just kind of goes out the window. So you have to find this purpose. Why are you here? What are you doing? What are you creating? Whether that's in your business, in personal relationships, in your relationship to the divine or the universe or God, you have to have this idea of purpose in your life if you're going to make large steps or changes in who you truly are as a fundamental being. And that is a key to this transformation, linking your why to what you're doing.
Yeah, I just recently heard what is the best alarm clock in the morning, and then I was told it's purpose. Yeah, when you wake up with
Yes.
purpose, you don't need an alarm clock. You just wake up because you're excited. When you fly on holiday, for example, you can't wait, to get out of the bed and go into the car, go to the airport, jump on the plane. Yeah, whatever you do, you have some business project or some presentation, or you're excited. Yeah, you have this enthusiasm. And so I can see it from my own life. When I have purpose, then everything automatically starts flowing. Yeah, because you know what you want to do, where you want to go, and then you're drawn to this. Yeah. So
Yeah, and
let.
I think I think it's important. Like, it's not only good to know where you're going and what your purpose is, but when you zoom in on that purpose, right? You get rid of all the other distractions that get you out of the flow state. So if you know this is my purpose is to build a 6-figure or 7-figure business through mindfulness and meditation, all the other opportunities, all the other options, all the other distractions that could come in, like I could make money on the market, I could make money going and getting a job. But when you have that purpose and you narrow it into that specific goal or outcome that you would like to experience, while keeping, again, keeping things a little bit more fluid. But once you have that, you tune out, and this is what your reticular activating system, this is what like your awareness starts to focus on, and that's what happens in your life. That's what becomes most prescient in your life. So when you have that purpose, you're eliminating all the other potentials of what you could do so that you can focus on the one thing that you want to be doing.
And yeah, let's start with the first pillar. How do you work with mindset? I mean, you mentioned the subconscious mind, and we are programmed 95% in our daily life, I think, is run by our subconscious mind. So our conscious decisions are very small, yeah, 5% or whatever. But with the right mindset, I think this 5% are more important than we think, yeah. And what is your approach? How do you use mindset tools, or do you use breathwork, meditation, or like we have abundance mindset, like you mentioned, past, future, intuition? So maybe the first two pillars, how to combine them, or
Yeah. So for mindset, it really is, when you're doing the one-on-one coaching, you're just listening to people. What are they saying? How are they blocking themselves from their potential? And then what I use is it's essentially a guided meditation where we take their awareness back to, typically we're going back to their childhood, and experiencing some of the major traumas, some of the major situations that created this block or this pattern in their life. And then we're viewing it from all the other people's perspective as well. It's a very interesting guided meditation. And people really, when they come out of it, we're kind of rippling that effect through the rest of their life until their present moment. And it changes that subconscious pattern, not from will and might and like I need to be a different person. It's changing it from the root, from the
mm,
very bottom cause of that pattern or belief that they have, and that's really the most powerful way to kind of to shift their mindset. Other than that, some tools that you can use. Again, you can have kind of like mantras that you're saying every morning, every evening, and throughout the day. Like, I am powerful, I am strong, I am intelligent. Kind of reprogramming your mind from a more conscious level, because again, where attention goes, energy flows, and you shift. If you are paying attention to the fact that you are powerful or you are capable, your mind is going to find all the different circumstances and areas in your life that you are powerful or you are strong. Um, Again, that's only 5%. You also have to do that 95% work, getting down to that root cause and that root situation that is creating this, feedback loop or this pattern in your life that you just can't seem to get out of.
and is it the meditation is more like inner child work, where you go into your childhood and you also heal it there, or you just see what is the root, or you also try to really send love to the inner child? How does it work? Maybe a little bit. You can just give us a few insights.
Yeah. Definitely doing a lot of the healing. So not only are you understanding, let's say if you had a trauma with your mother, and we're going back to that time, that first memory that we have with your mom wasn't there for you, let's say. Then we're taking our awareness into our mom's perspective, our mother's perspective, our mother's, like, what was happening in her mind during that time. And we start to realize, well, this really didn't have anything to do with me, or me being less than or not enough, or being abandoned, or whatever that root cause is. It was really just my mom was stretched thin. She had all these responsibilities, and she couldn't be there 100% of the time for me. So we're rewiring our brain to realize, oh, this wasn't anything to do with me. It was fully to do with them. And then we're kind of guiding and sharing with our inner child, or that child at that point. What is something that you would say to that child that would help them understand or know that they are more than enough? And then again, as we come back to the present, we're just rippling that through their life, their experiences, their memories, all the way until the present moment now. And then usually 1 or 2 sessions of that, things start to shift. They really start to have this change in their mindset and their mentality.
I really love this approach because you said, like, mindset, usually we try to force something, but if you go with them to the root and experience it and try to smoothly dissolve it, and really, it's a different approach. I really appreciate that. And
Yeah. I've tried doing them both ways. I've read a number of books on mindset and practices to build a better mindset. And they do talk about subconscious and conscious, but they never really talk about how to heal the subconscious or the unconscious, how to really get in there. And a lot of people use plant medicines, they use psychotherapy. Like, all of these modalities are great, but again, the integration of it, you gotta bring that into the present moment from the past, because just knowing about where it comes from doesn't mean that you're healing or altering that pattern or belief.
so the healing starts when you bring it into the present moment, because there's no past and future. Or
Exactly. You're changing your present experience of reality by going into the past and, altering that past. So it shifts who you are being in that moment.
and what do you think about? You mentioned mantras and affirmations. If you just repeat them, and we don't really feel them, or our body maybe doesn't believe it, do you also work with that the body also needs to feel and accept? Because I can tell myself, I'm successful, I'm happy, I'm in flow, but if I don't feel anything, then maybe it's just empty medicine capsules. I take them, but nothing helps.
Yeah, I think that's a lot where mindfulness comes in. If you can clear your mind and then you tell it a new story, that's when it really starts to take effect. If you have a busy mind, you're worried about what the next sale is, or where the business is going, or if everybody's going to show up today. You can do the mantras, but it's not changing your subconscious patterns. It's not shifting anything inside of you. You're just kind of you've got that 5% bandwidth that you're putting on that mantra, or that change that you want to see, but it's not changing that 95%. And that's where, if you can clear the mind, and then inside that clear mind, then go into like a mantra style experience, that's when you're really shifting your subconscious mind. You're almost hypnotizing yourself if you can clear your mind. But again, hypnosis doesn't work if the hypnotist doesn't calm your reticular activating system, your default mode network, these parts of you that are filtering out everything else inside of your reality. So you have to get into, and this is where the hypnosis comes in, like, you're getting into this theta brainwave state. And this is the same state that you're getting into when you're in a deep mindful meditation. And that's where transformation, like, that's where rewiring of the brain happens. The same state that you're in when you're in like a deep REM cycle. So that's how your brain rewires itself, is in this theta brainwave state.
So you bring them first with mindset, with the inner child and other like kind of a hypnosis. You go into the states, bring it to the presence, and then you apply mindfulness. To how does it look like? Like how do you use
Yeah.
mindfulness?
I do it. I actually do it the opposite. So the first practice that we learn in the transformational coaching is an effective mindfulness practice. So
Mm,
essentially, it's a couple moments, couple minutes in the morning, couple minutes in the evening. Sometimes it takes people a couple weeks to really build that practice and feel good about it. But you'll start to notice if you are consistent with it, 5-10 minutes in the morning, 5-10 minutes in the evening, and I try to tell people, you want to bookend your days with the meditation. So we all have this busy part of our day, typically from, 6 or 7 in the morning until 4 or 8 o'clock at night, whatever your schedule looks like. So if you can bookend those busy parts of your day, whether it's work or flow or just getting things done, that's going to help your mind, A, turn off at the end of the night, and then B, rev up at the beginning of the day,
mm,
and really get into that mindset that you want to be in for that active part of your day. So mindfulness is the first one. Once you're mindful, and this is kind of where having this coaching is very helpful, because then old memories start to pop up when you give your mind a little bit of space and time to reset. So old memories start to pop up, old emotions start to pop up, and this is where we find the root cause of the mindset. So once you give yourself that little space to your mind, a little space to relax, then we can pinpoint, we can figure out, okay, where are the issues with our mindset, and then we dive into those. And then once you get to that point, we've got to we're starting to clear the slate or clean the mirror, as I'm sure you've heard in practices. That's what you're doing in meditation. You're clearing the mirror so that information can flow
mm.
easily through you. It's not altered by what they're talking about is your subconscious mind. It's not altered by your subconscious beliefs and perspectives.
So where's the information coming from when you say information flows through you? Is it some higher source or is it still from your own experience? Because you said it's not the subconscious mind, it's not filtered. So where's it coming from?
Yeah, I mean that's more of a theosophical debate,
Yeah,
but I would
that's
say a practical understanding of it is there's 10 million bits of information that are flooding your nervous system all the time. You are just becoming more aware of all that 10 million bits of information, wherever it comes from. It could be coming from the universe. It could be coming from other dimensions. It could be coming from past experiences. It could be coming from your ancestral memories that are stored inside of your DNA. It could be coming from any of those. But being aware of all the information, the 10,000 or 10 million bits of information that are coming into your nervous system every second,
wow.
that's the information that you're trying to invite into your life.
Mm. In my own work, we also have one method. We go really into the moment, yeah, and stay there for 20, 30 minutes and just healing starts. Some people, they can clear traumas and just by being present because we access all this information. And my teacher, she
Mm.
told me, it doesn't matter, you don't need to know the trauma. It's like taking the garbage and throw it out, you don't open the garbage and take every bit out. So we don't need to know actually where it's coming from. Yeah? We have to still connect with the process and connect with the information.
I like that. I like that. You don't need to know what's in the garbage. You just take it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know, but you don't need to know everything where it's coming from, which trauma is stored, where, like healing. When
Yeah,
healing starts, just accept the process and flow with it. Yeah,
exactly. And you got to have that mindset that you're ready to heal too. Because if you have that subconscious belief that you're not worthy of healing, or you're not ready to heal, or you're not ready to expand, you're gonna hold on to that. It's not gonna actually you're not gonna actually take the trash out.
mm. So the mindfulness, the mindset, they're both connected. I like it because
For
we say
sure.
mindful, but actually we become more mindless. Like we are less of our mind, yeah, by being
Yeah,
mindful. And
exactly. It's an interesting kind of juxtaposition when people say mindfulness. It's really, and again, I don't think it's about emptying the mind. It's about the physiological response to the thoughts, not being attached to your thoughts.
Mm. And then you open for. I didn't get the intuition part fully. So this is the how you access the information. This you call intuition when you're not in the
Correct.
world.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the intuition part, is just expanding your awareness of the subconscious information that's coming into your body. I've got a couple of tools, techniques that we do. Again, most of it is getting into the present moment, getting into a meditation where we can start to feel, experience, notice what our body is communicating us, because the intuition speaks to us through our body. It's not
Mm.
going to talk to you. It's not going to show you pictures or anything like that. It's going to speak to you through your body, and then your body interprets those and turns them into pictures, images, memories, things like that. So if you can if you can be in the present moment long enough and start to notice, like, let's say you ask yourself a question while you're in that deep meditative state, and then you notice, okay, there's a feeling somewhere in my body. Maybe it's in the chest, maybe it's in the shoulders or the back. And then you start to build data around, okay, so I felt it in the chest this time, and I listened to that voice inside of me, and I had a positive outcome for that. So what that means is this feeling in the chest is going to lead to, it's like a yes, it's a, this is the pathway forward. And then you'll get a no feeling. So, maybe the yes is in your chest, the no is in your lower back. And just starting to use this information to make decisions, so that it's pretty clear. You're not only basing your information or your decisions off of information that you've gathered from the past or data that you have even in the present moment, but you're also using the information, the knowledge, the intelligence of your body, and the intelligence of the information that's all around you to make those decisions as well. And this builds kind of empathy. This builds the ability to read people, to understand people at a deeper level. And it can help you in your life when you're making major decisions. Like, instead of just using the cognitive rational mind, you're also using your intuitive intelligence in life.
Wow, that's. In the beginning, I was not sure what you mean with intuition, because intuition, we think like, yeah, something comes to my mind, I make a choice, and then, oh, my intuition kicked in. But actually, the body speaks through us, and this is the intuition you access by being present, by going into these
Mm-hmm.
deeper states. Yeah, then you can learn to
Yep.
listen, and this is also how you heal. And
Exactly. And what's really cool is, and this is where like a lot of high level performers may or may not understand this, but the more that you listen to your intuition, the more that you rewire your brain to automatically take those conscious or unconscious cues, and it just starts to it becomes a part of who you are. You just become intuitive. You don't have to sit down and think, okay, is this the right decision? Do I feel it in my body? Like, it just starts to, again, it starts to flow. It opens up that flow where your conscious mind doesn't have to worry too much about what is the feeling that I'm experiencing. And this is usually over a couple of weeks, maybe a month, that you start to feel, oh shoot, like I know that this is the direction that I need to be moving in, or I know that this is not the direction that I need to be moving in. Because it's important to have both. It's important to know what direction you should be moving into, and what are the directions you shouldn't be putting any energy or time into. um, and then you just start to become intuitive, basically. And some of the greatest minds in the world, Einstein and Steve Jobs and Warren Buffett, they used intuition, whether they knew it or not. Some people call it different things. They call it, they're being guided by the universe. They're being guided by God. Whatever frame of reference that you have
yeah,
for this, you're using an intelligence that is above your cognitive ability to make decisions. And that's what I would say intuition is.
cool. I liked it. Yeah, and then the purpose comes from that intuition, that connectedness. or you use the purpose before, or it will come over the course of some weeks? You will find your purpose, or you help people to guide them to understand what is the purpose, or
Yeah, yeah. Usually the purpose comes kind of at the end where we've done the work, we start to understand things, and then we go into maybe one coaching session where we're just trying to coax out what is that purpose? Like what is that experience? You can obviously use intuition, you can use the frameworks of um, all the knowledge that you've gained in the past as well. But it really is coming up with, okay, right now in this very moment, what is my purpose? What am I working towards? Why am I here? And it can be a huge purpose, like I'm here to shift the consciousness of the planet, or it could be as simple as I'm here to be the best boss, the best manager, the best founder, the best dad, the best mom, the best parent to my kids. All those purposes are meaningful. And what a lot of people don't realize is no matter how deep you've gone, no matter how much you've worked on yourself and you've found these deeper and deeper truths inside of you, your purpose can still change. There's no limit. It's like the lotus petal or the lotus flower. There's always more petals that can open up to you. So even though you might have found purpose when you were 18 and then 22 and then 25, what's your purpose right now? What is that purpose right now? So just trying to help them. Again, I'm not figuring it out. I'm letting them work through and figure out, okay, what feels right? Does that feel like a purpose? And that's where, getting a purpose that matches your skills challenge balance is really powerful. Again, you've got this like narrow bandwidth where your skills and the challenges that you're trying to accomplish line up. And if you put your purpose kind of in that line, in somewhere along that line, it's going to help you live that purpose, because you won't feel overwhelmed. You won't feel like you're not doing enough. Like you're moving always towards your purpose while remaining in flow in that skills challenge matrix that you're creating.
and how do people respond to your program, and what was your biggest breakthrough?
Yeah, a lot of people, they come out with just relaxation, calmness, clarity. Like they don't have to worry as much anymore about not knowing where they should be moving, what they should be working on, what they should be doing, and B, they have this mindfulness, these mindfulness tools that help them for the rest of their life. So again, they are really coming out with this clarity, with this kind of like different energy than when they were coming in. Again, a lot of people are coming in, they're getting close to burning out. They're making huge decisions or changes in their life, and they're just not sure. Like they know they need to make the change, but they don't know exactly what's on the other side of that change. Where are they moving towards? So getting a good idea of what that is, what that looks like, that really helps them make that transition, instead of it being, maybe a year or two long transition where they're just kind of bouncing around, not sure what they're doing, not sure what they're supposed to be working on. It shortens that time down to, in theory, 12 weeks, getting really focused on what they want to be building in their lives.
I'm really, really excited about your program. Do you give once a week a private session, or is it group session? How does it work? Or with your school community, is it connected? Or
Yeah, so right now, the transformational coaching is just a one-on-one container. I'll probably move it at some point to a group container, but right now I'm just taking one-on-one clients, getting them through, making sure that the program is as optimized as it can be. And then once we've kind of got it optimized, I'll probably switch it into the like a group coaching format as well. And then, yeah, with the school, and that's a great part about the Flow Forum, the school group that I've got. A lot of the tools that I use in the one-on-one coaching, you get a little taste of them in the flow forum. So I've got mindfulness practices. I've built out a lot of intuition building. I'm working on mindset and purpose right now. That's actually this afternoon. I got a 2-hour block where I'm just, all right, I need to put a couple more things with mindfulness or with mindset and purpose into the flow forum. But again, that group is growing and growing and growing, and you get to taste it, you get to try it, you get to see, is this something that I might be interested in exploring more of? And then if you're ready to take on more, then we go into that one-on-one or possibly group container.
And the school group, is it paid or for free, or how does it work?
It's free. Yeah, you can join for free. It's a closed group, so I gotta let you in just to make sure we're not letting bots and all that stuff in. But I'd let you in, answer a couple questions. I give you a quick rundown of where and how to get started in the school group. And then I also offer a connection call just to kind of see where you're at, what you're going through. We can kind of chat about what you're experiencing, and then I can put you, all right, well, here's the place where I think you should start. Let's start with mindset, or let's start with mindfulness, or maybe you've got those kind of figured out and it's like, I want to build my intuition. All right, well, let's start with the intuition module. And that way you're getting the most out of the group. You're not just kind of bouncing around and figuring things out on your own.
Yeah, I know it for my group. It's YouTube. So I also have a school group, and I try to direct people, but it's difficult to keep them engaged. Yeah, it's an art.
Oh yeah. It's an art for sure, and you know, the coach that brought us together, he's very good at that. And I'm trying to learn from his, you know, engagement and process on how to run a good community, because that's what we're all looking to do. That's what school's looking to create. It's this community of like-minded people that are interested in changing or moving towards a similar goal. And you know, being a good group leader, being a good community leader, that will change how you show up in the world. If you're this like beautiful community leader, that'll shift how you show up as a parent, how you show up as a manager, how you show up as a business owner. It shifts that, and I'm very excited to kind of be building this community. I've known that I've wanted a community for the last 2 years. And I just haven't found the right platform, and school is by far the best one that I've found so far. I've probably tried 4 or 5 different like community building platforms and just haven't loved any of them.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. Commune in unity. Community.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the word. I could see from my YouTube, I try to connect with people, but it's very impersonal. People watching me, but I don't know who is watching. Yeah, but in a group, it's good. You can connect. You can give them free resources, you know, and you can see also what they need and who they are. Yeah. So I also have, for my own personal example, I have very good experience now with the school group, and I feel like it's more flowing. So I also got connected to you. I saw you on the same group, yeah, and then I saw Flow Forum, and I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. I need to invite you. So I'm really glad that you came, and maybe there's something else you would like to share with our listeners, some important message. What's on your chest? What's in your heart?
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely, you know, I talk about this on my podcast a fair amount. The fact that we are going through this like fundamental shift in consciousness on the planet, and that from my perspective, we're moving from a very competitive environment to a more cooperative environment, and this is across business. This is at the highest levels, at the governmental levels. Even though it might not look like it, what we're doing right now is clearing out some of the old patterns so that we can create this more cooperative experience on the planet, and we're shifting into this place where we start to operate more as a human species instead of a bunch of different segregated parts of the human species. So the tools that we're building, both you and I, like this idea of getting into flow, being connected, they are the skills. These are the next level skills. Just like you need skills to market yourself, and you need skills to build a website, and you need skills to build your muscles, you also need skills to build your mind so that as we go through these transitions in life, or as a collective, as a society, as a global culture, as we go through those transitions, that you don't get stuck at any one point. You're building this growth mindset where, again, you're taking intuition from the future as well as intelligence and knowledge from the past, and being able to stay in the present moment as we go through these shifts, as we go through these what look like maybe craziness in the world. If you can stay and remain present and focused in your personal experience, that's going to allow others to be and stay in that focus, that present moment. And when you can stay in that present moment, it reflects out to everybody else, and everyone else starts to feel, oh well, if Joe is calm, cool, and collected with everything that's happening in the world, maybe I can be a little bit more calm, cool, collected with everything else in the world. And for business leaders, for anybody that's managing or running a group of people, that leaders nervous system, their mindset, their mindfulness, their ability to stay in the present moment, and this has been scientifically proven over and over again, the people that are following that person are going to take their cues from that person. So if they are calm, if they're collected, if they are in the present moment, everyone else in that organization, it might not be as calm, collected, or present as that person is, but they're definitely picking up subconsciously on these cues, and their ability to stay in that state, their ability to stay in that calm, cool, collected place is going to dictate how that organization moves, grows, creates, builds, etc. So this is very important for people at the top, just as much as it is important for people at the bottom.
Oh, it's the butterfly effect. I mean,
exactly.
If you have, I mean, if you coach one person even, and maybe he has problems with his wife, and then you save the relationships, yeah, the children have a different childhood, yeah, and it reflects in their school, with their friends, how they grew up, with their children. So actually, everything you do, you send out and you help actually change the whole environment, the whole world. So we all connected. Like I like to give this example: we breathe in air, yeah, we exhale carbon dioxide. The trees absorb the carbon dioxide, give back the oxygen. So everything is in harmony and flow, yeah. And
Exactly.
if you have this vision that actually, when it's not selfish, I take time for me, I meditate now 2 hours or whatever, actually I take time for me from the inside out to give actually, and yeah, that people can reflect and connect with this energy of calm, peace, presence, harmony. Yeah, yeah, I love this.
Exactly. Yeah, and then you can kind of get into the idea of, we're all in our own personal reality, right? We're all in our own and you can talk about that as being your personality. It's your personal reality. But essentially, how you internally experience the world is dictated by the state of your nervous system. If you're in the sympathetic, if you're in the fight or flight, you're going to experience a world that is scary and dangerous. If you're in the parasympathetic, you're in the rest and digest, you're going to experience a world that is calmer, more peaceful. And again, you got to take out external data and bring that into your understanding. But you really do. You dictate how you experience your time on this planet through mindfulness, mindset, intuition, and purpose. And if you can change that, if you can shift that, the whole external world becomes this place that's not as scary, not as dangerous, not as existentially in threat as a lot of people believe that it is.
Thank you so much, Joe. I hope people, listeners, get in contact with you. I will put all the links from your website. And what is the best way to connect you, through the school group or?
Yeah, I would say either through the school group or on Instagram. My handle is Garnation, Gar Nation. It's a little bit of my last name. So those are the two places that I really enjoy getting to know people, communicating with them, sharing ideas with, and that's the best place to start.
I will link it in the description and pin comment something so people can reach out to you. And your program sounds amazing. I have a similar tactic, and I'm still building my program, so I learned a lot now from this session. I can use especially
Beautiful.
the intuition part. I love that. And
Yeah, come on the school. I've got a whole a whole module that you can kind of. I'll take you through the whole process of connecting to, feeling it, getting a yes and no. Like, love to have you on.
I will do. I wanted to join, and for like, okay, another school group. Let's wait. But now
Yeah, right.
after the talk, and yeah, I mean, I have many more questions now. You answered them, but now it's flowing. So maybe one day we can have another session, and I think I would
Yeah, I
enjoy
would
it.
love that.
Yeah. Hey,
That'd be great.
thank you for your time, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, and I look forward to yeah, working with you in the future.
Yeah, sure. Let's float beyond together.
Exactly.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.